Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video. This time I'm reviewing the new Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team box, Chalnath. Before we get into things, thanks to Games Workshop for providing this to review for free. As always, I aim to be honest, impartial and constructively critical. So let's get on with the review. First things first, please remember to like and subscribe, as well as comment as what you thought of today's video and what you think of the review. Do you like Chalnath and do you think it's worth getting for yourself? But yeah, let's delve into the box. So contents wise, this is our first expansion for Kill Team. Originally we've had the Octarius box, which has been a starter set for Kill Team containing 2 kill teams, lots of terrain, rulebooks and dice. This box only contains 2 kill teams, one brand new, one with an upgrade sprue, a new book, campaign book with rules and everything, and then a game board with some re-released old terrain that is currently out of production. So you get less, but it's not really a necessary buy. It's an optional buy, and if you've already bought Octarius, you're basically kind of content if you don't want to expand upon it. The only reason you would probably want to buy Chalnath is either for the out of production terrain, because you do actually get a lot of it, and that terrain is really nice, because it's basically the terrain you got in the original Kill Team starter set from 2018. Or you want early access to the new 40k units, because they'll be broken down at a later date, but probably when the next box comes out on sale in like 3 months' time. So you're just paying for early access, effectively. The cost, we'll go into the cost now. It's not great. It's £105 direct from Games Workshop. Me and my friends were expecting £95. So, you know, at 105, it's a bit of a tough sell considering Octarius was 125. But you are getting 2 teams, which would be £35 each. Then you're getting a rulebook, which would probably be 25. Then the game board is 20. And the terrain would be about 50 to 60 pounds. So you are saving quite a bit. It's just you're paying a lot up front still. But as I said, it's not too bad because, well, it's an optional purchase. So if you don't buy this, you're just missing out on some 2 new kill teams. So I don't know, I'm torn. Like, it's, if you have someone to split it down with, it's an interesting buy-in. For the narrative, the entire setting has been shifted from Octarius to now technically a place called Novitiate. So originally this was just an imperial sector of space, but it'd been disconnected due to the Great Rift and everything going on in the main 40k universe. So what happened, because of their isolation, the Tau's 5th sphere was expanding forwards and came into this region. And because of their isolation, they were open to negotiations and bargaining. Then what happened is, while they were negotiating and talking through things, a sudden fleet of Sisters of Battle appeared, found all these Xeno ships, quickly ambushed them and regained the system back into Imperial control and removing all the Xeno threats. But obviously the Tau weren't one to lose out on another area of expanded space for taking, so they've now launched a massive counterattack. So you have these new forces of trainee sisters fighting off against an experienced Tau force, and the Imperial war zone is caught in the middle. So now they're fighting across the entire sector, launching, as you know, mini staging points to kind of disrupt each other to gain the upper hand to wrestle dominance. Obviously going on during all of this, you've got other different factions like Orcs, Tyranids, Drukhari, all messing things up and fighting along the way. So it's never truly simple when it comes to Warhammer 40,000. Now for the kill teams, I'll be going through them in depth, and first I'll be going through the Sisters kill team, and then I'll be going through the Pathfinders. So let's look at the Sisters first. So for a Novitiate kill team, its archetype is security or recon, which is really nice because, well, security is very good, and, you know, recon's not bad either. Your operatives consist of a single kill team, and you have a leader called a Novitiate Superior, who can either be equipped with a bolt gun or bolt pistol and plasma pistol and power weapon. Then you've got 9 Novitiates, consisting of your normal militant, which can either have a pistol and blade or a gun, and then you've got your 10 are the specialists. Also, you have new critical hit rules detailing the Inferno keyword. So Inferno is each time a friendly operative fights in combat or makes a shooting attack with this weapon, in the roll attack dice step of that combat or shooting attack, If you retain any critical hits, the target gains X Inferno tokens, where X is the number of the weapon's Inferno value. At the end of each turning point, roll a d6 for each Inferno token an enemy operative has. On a 4-up, they suffer a mortal wound, and then after rolling, you remove all Inferno tokens. So it's a nice new mechanic for the faction, and it's just some more damage application for those attacks that don't kill. They also have Acts of Faith, so you start off with 3 Acts of Faith each turning point, and you can gain more via certain ways, which are basically locked into narrative, from the base way anyway. So, for example, they're based off of the combat specialists you take during narrative spec op play, so it's a nice bonus to narrative play, even while you're playing competitively, but while you're playing competitively, you're limited to 3 per turn base. Now you can spend these faith points on Acts of Faith. So the basic one is you can do a command reroll, even though it's not called a command reroll. And that costs 1 faith point, which is Faithful Blessing. Guiding Light costs 2 faith points, and you can retain one of your failed hits as a normal hit in shooting or combat. Vengeful Strike, you can retain one of your successful attacks as a normal hit as a crit instead for 3 faith points. Divine Shield, so when a shooting attack is made against one of your operatives, you can retain one of your failed saves as a normal save for 2 points. Armor of Contempt, when a shooting attack is made against one of your operatives, retain one of your normal successes as a critical save instead for 2. Emperor's Protection, when a friendly Novite operative suffers a mortal wound, ignore that mortal wound, and it can be used more than once for 1 fate point, which isn't, 1 faith point, which isn't that great considering mortal wounds can happen a lot. Blessed Rejuvenation is when this operative is activated, you regain D3 lost wounds, and D3 lost wounds, and you can do up to twice, and it costs 2 faith points. And then you've got Blinding Aura. So when an enemy operative performs a shooting attack, select 1 friendly operative. While that friendly operative is more than white from that enemy operative, you are treated as being in cover for 2 faith points. So you have some interesting abilities. And if you just wanted to use the Faithful Blessing on its own, you effectively get 3 rerolls a turn on top of your command reroll. So they can actually be quite accurate. For your strategic ploys, you have Eyes of the Emperor, where your pistols and bolt pistols and plasma pistols lose all their range limitations. So you effectively gain unlimited range, which is nice and probably to help offset their limited range threat. So it's nice to see. Sanctified Rounds for 1 CP. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of auto guns and auto pistols, which is all right. It's a nice addition, but I probably wouldn't use it. It's something you would use in a desperation, I feel. Aegis of the Emperor, which isn't as good as the Custody one, which is effectively just a anti-psyker ability. Then you've got Defenders of Faith. Perform at the start of the fight phase, select 1 operative that was in white of the center of each objective marker, and they can perform a free shoot action if it has an engage order, or a free fight action if it has an engage order for 2 CP. And this is super good because it allows you to immediately activate, 1 operative for 2 command points. So if it's the start of the turn and you're going first, you effectively get to activate 2, or you can activate someone before the opponent as long as they're within center of an objective marker. So even if you're contesting it, as long as you're within center, that's really good. Well, within white, so that's really good. Then your tactical ploys, you have Glorious Martyrdom. So for 1 CP, when a friendly operative is incapacitated, each enemy operative within white and visible suffers 1 mortal wound, and you get D3 faith points. So that's actually a really good thing to play, especially if you want to get more faith points, and it does some nice damage. You've got Burning Wrath, which is a nice alternate firing mode for your Ministerium Flamers, but it's just for 1 operative and it's not great. Then you have Righteous Condemnation, so use this tactical ploy after rolling your attack dice for a shooting attack made by a friendly operative. Well, for your Condemner, you can reroll any or all of your failed attack dice for that shooting attack. So it's nice, but once again, Burning Wrath and Righteous Condemnation are only for 2 of your specialists. So it's quite strange. I guess you get so much with Acts of Faith, it's not too bad, but just an interesting take. For your operatives, you have the Novitiate Militant. Her auto gun is alright, and the auto pistol is fine, but that blade is really good. Now, all of your operatives are saves 4 up with 7 wounds, but that blade is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4/5 with balanced. So already it's a fragile body, but hitting really hard and accurately. So yeah, I would definitely always take the blade and pistol over the autogun, just because, wow, that melee profile is so impressive. Then you have the Novitiate Superior. So she is equipped with can either have a bolt gun or a pistol and power weapon. So I'd probably go with the pistol and power weapon. She has power armor, so a free up save, and she has 8 wounds. Her special ability is lead by example, so each time this operative is activated and it performs any mission actions, or if any enemy operatives are incapacitated as a result of the actions it performs during that activation, you can select one ready friendly operative visible and within red, and you can immediately activate them. So it allows you to group activate, and with a fairly elite kill team, as in, just 10 models with no group activation whatsoever, it's actually really easy to trigger if you do like mission actions, depending on the mission. And I believe your Tac Ops missions would trigger it as well, and as well if you're just killing. So it's nice flexibility from your leader and makes her more than just a beat stick. Your Penitent has a Penitent Eviscerator, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 4s, 5/6 with Brutal and Reap 2 on a crit. She has the ability Zealous Rage, so the first time this operative performs a fight action in each of its activations, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice. And then she has a special ability, which is Absolution through Destruction. For 1 AP, perform a fight action with this operative, then perform another fight action. So actually, she's really accurate. The only problem is you kind of want to be killing stuff in one hit. Now, if you roll a crit with her, which you have like just a 51.8% chance on 4 dice, ignoring the rerolls, she can effectively kill someone by doing 8. Well, no, she would only do 6 damage, yeah, because Reap doesn't stack. Ooh. Yeah, so the problem is she's going to take damage in return. And while fighting twice is great, unless she's killing stuff in 1 hit, she's going to kill someone in 2 hits and then take either anywhere from 3 to 5 damage. So the next thing she hits, she'll either be dead, or you'd have to, as I said, attack an injured one. Still, she is super accurate, considering she's re-rolling everything, with crazy damage. The only problem is her body that she comes on with 7 wounds, but a great fighter nonetheless. You have your Purgatus, which has a Ministorium Flamer, which is 5 dice, hitting on 2s, 2/3 with Inferno 1 on a crit. She has Burning Advance, which basically works like Dash, so when she shoots, she can do a free dash action in any order, and she's alright. The only problem is her Flamer is quite short range, but you could combine this with stuff like grenades, and if she could somehow get another shooting attack. Then you've got your Pronatus. So she's actually really important. She only has an auto pistol, but she has a Relic Seeker. Each time this operative is activated, it can perform 1 mission action without spending any action points. So the key thing, it doesn't reduce it by 1. She could spend a mission action that costs 2 or even 3 action points just for free. So that's super strong. And then her other ability is Raise Relic. For 1 action point, you gain 2 faith points. If this operative performs this while within white of the center of an objective marker or within red of the enemy drop zone, you gain 3 faith points instead. So if you set her on the backfield, not only can she do mission actions for free, but if she claims an objective as part of the main mission, you get 3 faith points. So you should activate her to go to 6, and then now you've effectively got 6 rerolls. She is probably the key piece to the kill team, so you always want to run her and keep her safe. Next you have the Novitiate Exactor, so she's your whip lady. Her lethal whips are okay, 5 dice hitting on 3s, 2/3 with lethal 5+ and stun. She has the ability Whip into a Frenzy for 1 AP, select 1 friendly operative, excluding the superior, within blue and visible of her, add 1 to that operative's APL. In addition to that, the operative, until the end of the movement into the next activation, adds circle to its movement characteristic, adds white. So she's actually a good buff piece. Not only does she add 1 APL, but she also adds 1 white to their movement. So if you wanted to like rocket in your Eviscerator, she'll be charging 5 white. So another nice buff piece that you probably want to take. Then you have your Reliquarius. She just has an auto pistol and an icon of purity. So each time a friendly operative is incapacitated within red and visible to her, on a 4-up, they can immediately perform a free shoot action, which isn't bad. She also has 8 wounds, probably because of her big banner. And then she has Plant the Icon. Perform this for 1 AP while within white of the center of an objective marker. Until this operative is next activated, if it is within white of the center of any objective markers, halve the APL of enemy operatives rounding up when determining who controls that objective marker. So instead of just getting +1 APL for controlling an objective, she halves everyone else's, namely your opponents. So she's actually good at locking down points, but you would probably do this by activating her last. Just because, say your opponent throws 3 operatives on the point, you can just run on, and if they're to APL, if you've got someone there already, she knocks them all down to 1 and you control that objective. So that's really nice. And she also has 8 wounds. Next, you have your medic, who just has a pistol. So she can prevent someone from dying if they're within blue and haven't been shot or haven't been killed in melee. And then she can also heal instead if she hasn't resurrected anyone from the dead for 2d3 wounds. It's all right, but you probably want to run her anyway, just because medics are actually pretty important. And she can just run around, sitting in your backfield, or just helping you support push. You have your Preceptor, your lady with the big mace. The Mace of the Righteous is 4 attacks, hitting on freeze 5/5 with Inferno 2 and stun on crits. She has unflinching determination, so each time a shooting attack is made against a friendly operative, roll a defense dice in that shooting attack. If the operative is visible and within blue, you can reroll one of your defense dice. So she inspires everyone, including herself. She has her glorious hymnal for 1 action point. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly operative fights in combat, in the roll attack dice step of that combat, if it's within red of that operative, you can reroll any or all of your attack dice for results of 1 or 2. So yeah, it helps all your operatives become super accurate considering everyone hits on freeze, apart from your Eviscerator, who is going to be rerolling hits anyway. So actually pretty useful. You have your Dialogus, who just has a pistol and her stave, which is 3 attacks for 3/3. She has the Stirring Rhetoric. So for 1 AP, select a friendly operative within red and visible and add 1 to its APL. So effectively you now have 2 operatives that give +1 APL to your operatives. Then you've got the Auto Broadcaster for 1 action point. Place a Condemning Sermon token within red of this operative, while an enemy operative is within white of the center of your Condemning Sermon token. Worsen the ballistic skill characteristic of the ranged weapons it's equipped with by 1. And then you remove it at the start of each of your turning points when you ready fighters. So she has some nice area control. Problem is getting the most use out of Auto Broadcaster, but you're getting a decent use out of Stirring Rhetoric. So she's not bad overall. Next, you have your Duelist, who has Dueling Blades, which are 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, 3/4 with lethal 5 up, and Expert Riposte. So each time this operative fights in combat using her Dueling Blades, in the resolve successful hit step of that combat, each time you parry with a critical hit, also inflict the damage equal to that weapon's critical damage characteristic. So basically, if she parries you with a crit, you lose an attack dice and she deals 4 damage to you. So she's actually really, really good at denying taking damage, especially if your opponent only rolls 1 attack, you've rolled 3, and you've rolled a crit, you immediately parry that and kill them quickly. It's nice, really, really nice, especially even when she's charged. Next, you have your Condemner, who has a Condemner Stake Thrower bolt gun. Well, just a stake thrower, really. 4 attacks, hitting on freeze 2/3 with silent, and on a crit does piercing and mortal wounds 2. She also has the Null Rod, so each time an enemy operative is activated if it's in red, its APL characteristic cannot be higher than 2. Each time an enemy operative performs a psychic action, if it's within red, add 1, it must pay 1 more AP to perform that psychic action. So she's an anti-psycho, but also caps APL to 2 while within red of her. So you actually get rewarded for pushing up, and she's really good at, punishing APL-free teams. But you're probably going to take her because of her Silent Bolt Gun. Silent Stake Thrower. So it's 4 dice. So as I said, you have like a 51.8% chance to roll a crit, excluding your faith point rerolls. And if you roll a crit, she's doing 3 damage and 2 mortal wounds with piercing. So she's actually decent as your sniper, even unintentionally so. So you would always have to take her just for some range threat in your warband. Kill team. Next is your equipment. Nothing's too stand out here. I think the best stuff you give is probably the Chaplet of Ecclesiasticus for 2 EP. You give the Adamantine Weave Surplice. For 2 EP, you change the characteristic save from 4 up to 3 up for that operative. So effectively, you give this to all your ranged operatives that have to fire while engaged, or your operatives that are going to run up the field, just because the other equipment is okay, but it's more situational. Then you have a huge wealth of spec op rules going through stuff like unique campaign equipment, base of operations, name generation, as well as special traits you can generate through the course of a campaign. So there's a lot to reward you for playing in narrative play with this kill team. Next, we have the Pathfinder kill team. The first of our big updates in an official publication outside of White Dwarf for a compendium kill team. For your Pathfinder kill team, they are locked into the Recon archetype, and shockingly, they don't have access to infiltration. You have the Shazui Pathfinder, and then you have an option of 12 Pathfinder operatives, ranging from your normal Pathfinder to all your operatives. Notably, you can take 2 weapon experts, which either can have a rail rifle or iron rifle, and then you have a selection of drones to select from. If you choose a recon drone, you can only select 10 other operatives instead of 12. So if you select a recon drone, you get 11 miniatures. If you don't, you get 12. So it's a big choice, but spoilers, you always take the recon drone. Next, you have a nice page detailing the special rules and abilities of your kill team, going through what exactly pulse weapons are, how targeting works for drones, and notably how they can't do mission actions and are hard to claim objectives with unless specified otherwise, as well as how Savior Protocol works if you want to use a drone operative to bodyguard one of your other operatives. The other special rules they have access to are Markerlights, which have been completely reworked. As shown on the Warhammer community article, for 1 AP you can give a Markerlight token to anyone visible to this operative, and you gain a beneficial stacking effect based on how many Markerlight tokens the target has. So in the roll attack dice step of that shooting attack, you can reroll one of your attack dice. 2 up, you gain no cover. For 3 up, you get +1 to your ballistic skill. On 4 up, you ignore obscured, and on 5 up, you ignore their conceal order, treating as if they have engage, which is very huge. Now, while Markerlight tokens are great, I think you're ideally looking from 1 to 3. Any more than that, I feel like is a trap, unless you're dead set on trying to kill someone. Because if you start dunking Markerlight tokens on an operative that hasn't activated yet, they can always shoot and move out of range. Obviously, you're forcing them to shoot and move away, but you're telegraphing your Markerlight tokens, so you have to find a way to spread them out so your opponent can't guess who you're going to shoot at next. Art of War is interesting. It's tied to your leader, so you can use one of these effects once per game. So you can either do Montcar, which each time a friendly Pathfinder operative activates, for that turning point, they can do a free dash action, or Kaon, which is each time they perform a shooting attack, each time someone performs a shooting attack against your Pathfinders, before rolling defense dice, if it's in cover, you can retain an additional defense dice. So I'm personally a fan of Kaon, especially if you spend the first turn being concealed, second turn you do your big push and play Kaon. But I can see Montcar being good on missions where you have to be aggressive and go for the push, because it can reward you for getting into your opponent's face quite quickly. For strategic ploys, you have Recon Sweep, which is alright for 1 CP. For operatives that are wholly within red of any kills on edge, you can perform a free dash action, but only if they finish their move wholly within red of a kills on edge that is not your own kills on edge. So it's not bad for moving up the sides of the board. Take Cover is good. It's the same as the Krieger one. You get +1 to your save if in cover, so you actually will probably use this a lot. Bonded is probably the best strategic ploy. Until the end of the turning point, each time a friendly Pathfinder operative makes a shooting attack in the roll attack dice step, if it was in blue of another friendly Pathfinder operative excluding drones, you can reroll one of your attack dice. Coupled with Markerlights, you're now basically rerolling 1 to 2 dice all the time, making your shooting even more accurate and rewarding you for pairing your operatives together as they move up and advance. Then for 2 CP, you have Determined Tactician, which allows you once per game effectively to, while a friendly Pathfinder operative is in red and visible of your leader, it treats the same Art of War as in effect as in the previous turning point. So if everyone's within red, you can effectively get 2 turns of your Art of War. So it's quite situational, and you'll probably maybe use this more with Kaon, but it's nice to be aware of this. You wouldn't pop this every game, but it's a nice situational Tac Op, or strategic ploy. Then for your tactical ploys, you have a Worthy Cause for 1 CP. At the start of the firefight phase, select 1 friendly ready Pathfinder operative, excluding drones, that is in blue of any enemy operatives, or within red of the center of an objective marker, and activate it. And then once that operative has completed its activation, the person who has initiative can activate and operate operative as normal. So this is probably their strongest tactical ploy, because you can effectively use this to always activate someone first, so you can either double activate or activate before your opponent, which is key for missions like seize ground when you're trying to seize a forward objective and you've deployed someone far forward. So yeah, this is really good, and you're probably going to be popping this every turn. It's such a strong tactical ploy. Then you have supporting fire, which allows you to effectively shoot into engagement range if someone's in engagement range with one of your Pathfinders. So it's okay, it's not bad. You do lose the ability to shoot into combat directly, as in actually fighting with a shooting weapon instead of melee. Then you have reposition, which allows you to perform dash actions while within engagement range. So it's not too great. The way you would use this if someone's trying to charge block you or you've charge blocked them, so you can fall back for effectively a dash instead of spending 2 AP to disengage. So it's not bad, it's just situational. So definitely a worthy cause is the winner there. For your operatives, the standard Shazui Pathfinder leader has a pulse carbine, and he has 8 wounds. Everyone has a 5-up save. Your bonding knife is 3 attacks hitting on 4s, 3/forward balanced, so he's actually pretty decent in melee. So you have the Art of War, which I've covered before. Then you've got holographic readout. So once per battle, when a friendly Pathfinder operative is activated within blue and visible to this operative, you can use this ability. If it does until the end of the friendly Pathfinder's operative activation, you can perform 1 mission action for 1 AP less to a minimum of 0. So he can either use it on himself or someone nearby. And so you can do a mission action for 1 AP or for free, and then you can do a marker light. Art of War is also for free, so you don't have to worry about spending AP for that. Then you have your standard Pathfinder. Nothing too special there. Decent gun, 4/5, and also has, hits on 4s instead of 3s like your leader, and then has a marker light. Your Blooded Pathfinder has a bionic arm and a special silenced suppressed pulse carbine. So that one is silent, which is actually really good because it just can continually apply pressure while concealed. It's bionic arm, a little bit underwhelming. I was expecting something ridiculous for a Tau melee weapon, even if it was just 2 or 1 dice sitting on 3s with 5/6, just something stupid. But it's fine. 3 attacks hitting on 4s, 3/4. Better than hitting on 5s with 2/3, but it could have been crazy. I would have liked to have been crazy. So your drone controller is actually very important, and you probably always take them. Has the pulse carbine and fists, but drone scout. So during deployment, if this operative was selected for deployment, you can set up 1 friendly drone operative with a conceal order anywhere on the kill zone that was in red of your drop zone, wholly within red of your drop zone, more than red from the enemy operatives, and more than blue from the enemy drop zone. So that's really good for forward deployment. Then he has a marker light. For 1 AP, he can control drones. So you can select a drone and do the following. If that drone operative is ready, after this activation ends, you can immediately activate that drone. And until the end of the turning point, it's not considered to have the drawbacks of artificial intelligence. So it can contest, capture objectives, and do mission actions. If that drone operative has been activated during this turning point, perform a free dash or shoot action with it. If you perform a shoot action, for its shooting attacks, worsen its ballistic skill by 1. So you can get a drone to fire twice, and effectively 3 times if you're outnumbered with an Overwatch. Obviously, you're -1 ballistic skill, but with your rerolls, that's not so bad. But you cannot perform these actions while within engagement range of enemy operatives. So your drone controller is super important. And the great thing is, his abilities don't have any range. So he can sit at the back of the board, mark light stuff, capping objectives, and controlling drones. So yeah, definitely someone who's going to take more skill to use, but really good, especially for early game, immediately capturing objectives and stuff. Then you have your Transspectral Interference Pathfinder. So he has a multispectral sensor, which targets aren't obscured, so he can bypass heavy terrain when shooting. He has a marker light, but he has his important ability, which I really like, is System Jam. Select 1 enemy operative visible to this operative, subtract 1 from their APL. You cannot perform this while concealed or within engagement range. So the downside is you have to be engaged to do this, and yeah, but the cool thing is you're minusing 1 APL from someone, and if they don't have any ways to get +1 APL, you've effectively neutered someone, especially if they're melee. And a cool thing I like to do, well, I think so anyway, is if you activate him last at the end of turning point 1, you can tag someone who's already activated, so when they activate in the next turning point, they're -1, and then you could activate him first in turning point 2 by tagging someone else and then moving out with another AP. So he's actually quite versatile, and I think he's very strong because we don't have anyone who can just remove 1 AP automatically from enemy fighters. So yeah, really huge there. Next, you have your Grenadier Pathfinder, who just has lots of grenades. So this operative is equipped with EMP fusion and photon grenades. They do not cost any equipment points, and they have the limited rule, but can be selected to use by this operative twice. So you just have to track what you use. And then he has nanocrystalline headgear, so you can ignore any or all modifiers to this operative's APL, weapon skill, and ballistic skill. So he's actually pretty good for all the grenades he throws. Now you could swap him out from a drone, well, for a drone, but when we cover the equipment, he's actually pretty useful. Then you have your comm specialist who can signal, so for 1 APL, he can give someone an action point. So it's not too bad, it's pretty good. Then you have your medic who works the same as all other medics, can revive someone. If it doesn't revive someone, it can heal someone instead. Considering how fragile your tower are, once again, this is really useful. Then you have your weapons expert. They can either have the iron rifle or the rail rifle. Personally, I always go with the iron rifle because it has 1 more dice. So if it rolls any crits, it's already piercing, which matches the rail rifle. Obviously, the rail rifle can do more damage, but also you can overshoot to do more damage as well. And with 5 dice, especially with all the rerolls you have access to, I think double ion rifle is probably the way forward. Then you have your marksman Pathfinder, who is one of your best operatives. So his rail rifle can either be fired standard or dart round. Standard does more damage, but your dart round is silent, both for AP1 with mortal wounds 2. So he operates as a really good sniper. And inertial dampener, each time this performs Overwatch action, do not worsen its ballistic skill. So not too bad, but one of your key operatives here. For the drones, I'm going to be a bit quick because I kind of covered them in the compendium. Oddly, your recon drone is defense 4 compared to the compendium, which is defense 3. It's burst cannon, which is really good. So it has heavy, but it has the key thing recon suite. If a friendly operative was selected for deployment, after resolving your selected option in the scouting step, you can select and resolve a recon option in addition to any other option. Initiative is still determined by your original selection, so it always allows you an additional free dash. So if you select dash during the scouting phase, you could do 2 thanks to this, which makes the recon drone so good. You also have the analyze ability. Select 1 enemy operative that is visible to this operative, then select 1 other friendly operative Pathfinder that is not within engagement range. After it activates, you can then immediately activate with a shooting attack from that operative shooting at an enemy operative, and they can reroll any or all attack dice. And this is where it's really key, because not only do you get the free dash, but you can burst cannon someone and then do analyze and have someone fire like your iron rifle with 4 rerolls. So super useful, always take the recon drone. Your gun drone is decent. Twin pulse carbines, 4/5 hit on 4s with relentless. Just really good, like the gun drone. Then you have the shield drone, which is alright, just as a 4-pin von save, and it tanks stuff. Your marker drone is actually really nice. It's got the high intensity marker light, so if it marker lights someone, they get 2 tokens instead of 1. So it actually makes the marker drone very useful. Then you've got your pulse accelerator drone, which can make your pulse weapons retain successful hits, or at least one of them. And then you have your grav inhibitor drone, which can reduce enemy movement and mobility while within range or within range of a grav token. They're okay. These 2 drones are definitely the weaker ones, and they're more situational, but they're nice to have if you feel someone's going to rush you down. For equipment, the Tau have a really wide selection. You have target analysis, which allows an operative to count its Marklight tokens as +1. Then you have high intensity Marklight to basically give someone 2 Marklight tokens instead of 1. Orbital scan, which is a nice way to give Marklights for a bunched up effect, although I think the high intensity Marklight is better. You have the ability to heal drones. The cool one is the EMP grenade. So that's range red, blast white, indirect EMP, limited. So it's 4 dice free, hitting on freeze 2/3, with EMP being lethal being the value of the opponent's unmodified save characteristic. So against 2 custodies, it's got lethal 2 up. Space Marines has got lethal 3 up. So not bad. You know, damage is a bit low, but it's good against armored targets. Then you've got the fusion grenade, which is range red, indirect AP2. It does 4 attacks hitting on freeze, 4/3 with mortal wounds free. So this lacks the blast, but it's great at throwing down against tough targets. Your photon grenades are exactly the same as in the compendium. They're great at subtracting and modifying movement of enemy operatives. And I think because you can only do this once, it's actually nice when you combine with your Grenadier, because your Grenadier has all these grenades. So if you give the Grenadier and you take like 4 photon grenades, you have 5 photon grenades like pinning down the opponent. Or you can like double up on like fusion grenades and EMP. So then not too bad. And then you've got the ever useful climbing equipment, which you can give for 1 EP for some just nice scouting as someone moves around the battlefield. And as always, you have your standard spec op rules from battle honors, equipment, special requisition, and campaign rules as the same for the sisters. So if you're looking for this, you're going to get a lot of campaign usage just from narrative play, especially against other kill teams in narrative play as well. So excellent resources there for narrative players. Finally, we have the Tac Ops. So I'll go through the Novitiates first. So for Tac Ops, you have Purge with Flame. If 2 or more enemy operatives are incapacitated by attacks made with the weapon with the Infernal special rule, you score 1 VP. If an enemy leader is incapacitated by an attack made with a weapon with Infernal critical hit rule, you score 1 VP. So it's not great. I believe you need to score both or either. I mean, if you have to score both, for example, if you can score the first bullet point twice, it's not too bad, but I'm not a fan of it. Reconsecrate ground. At the end of any turning point, if friendly operatives control an objective marker you nominate that is not within red of your drop zone, you score 1 VP. And if you control it at the end of the battle, you score 1 VP. Not bad, but for the bold, definitely matchup dependent. And then you've got Glory to the Martyrs, which was good on paper. So reveal this when a friendly operative dies within white of an objective marker. If another friendly operative is incapacitated, score 1 VP. Not too bad because your opponent may have to. If you achieve the first condition in any subsequent turning point, you score 1 VP. So your opponents may just tap you for 1 and then stop killing you and just contest, which may play into your hands. But for canny opponents, this is quite easy to play around, which is a shame. Then for the Pathfinders, you have probably the easiest Tac Op in the game outside of Interlope for the Grot, which is mark enemy movements. At the end of any turning point, if at least half of the enemy operatives in the kill zone rounding down, if they have a minimum of 3 enemy operatives. If they have 1 or more Markerlight tokens, you score 1 VP. And if you do that again in the next turning point, you score 1 VP. So sucks to be elite kill teams and gives you a reason to just Markerlight stuff. It's great. Patient Hunter is alright. At the end of the turning point, if you scored more victory points than the opponent for the mission during that turning point and more than half of your operatives have conceal, rounding down, you score 1 VP. And if you do that again, you score another VP. So it rewards you for being cautious and defensive. Then you have the Killing Blow, which is a little bit more complicated. If the total wounds catches of any operatives were incapacitated, that turning point is greater than the total wounds of friendly operatives that were incapacitated. So if you do more damage than you take, you score 1 VP, and if you do that, and you have to have mostly an engage orders, and if you do that again, you get another VP. So not the greatest of faction Tac Ops. Obviously, mark enemy movements is amazing. Then the other two are quite situational. For the kill zone rules, all of them have basically been previewed in Warhammer community already. Now, I know some people are upset by them, but I like them. I don't think they're locked to Chalnath. Obviously, if you have Chalnath, you have a hardcore version of these, but I think they're usable for all rules, basically. They've already added scalable via FAQ, so I wouldn't be surprised if these get added, because these are more general traits for general terrain and they just help. For example, I mean, me and my friends have always been playing doors, although I feel doors are a bit too easy, because doors allow free movement through like heavy terrain, which is key, but I would have liked it just to cost like traversing, so a single white to move through. Not complaining, more mobility is great. And then you have a hatch, which is the same, but allows you to move up through floors that basically stop you climbing around them, so it's not too bad. Then you have Chalnath Ruin buildings. So people have been upset with punishing vantage points, but the only thing that has punishing vantage points is described in this book. So the 2 Chalnath Ruin buildings. So it's not explicitly stated, but it's effectively for terrain pieces that are 5 inches or higher. And a punishing vantage point, it has scalable. So the final incremental distance of less than white is ignored instead of being rounded up. So effectively means you only need 2 white to climb a building instead of 3, which is a general rule, which I think is fine. Then you have the punishing vantage point, which has each part of the terrain feature is a vantage point. On a punishing vantage point, if you're shooting at someone not in cover, you can retain 1 attack dice as success. And if you're being shot at and you're at least 2 white higher than the opponent and in cover, you can retain a save. So they are more punishing, but only operatives in the open, and generally most people are in cover of some kind or in combat. And for the cover part, while punishing vantage points are strong, I feel they work best via smart objective placement. So I'd always put the open side facing towards the enemy drop zone. So it means the only way you're going to get cover from it is if your opponent's attacking you from your own drop zone. So, you know, some people are upset by I like these additions. They're nice, more rules for terrain, so it's cool to have that. The only problem is all the ruined walls have the heavy trait, which is rough. I think some should have been light terrain. The problem when everything is heavy terrain, it's just rough. So if I were you, at home anyway, I would review the small, like the shorter walls as just light terrain, but the book says heavy. So, you know, it helps against vantage points, but, well, it's rough to traverse around that. And as with the Octarius book, you get a bunch, well, you get 9 missions showing how to play narrative Chalnath games using terrain provided with fixed deployment layouts and missions. More of a thematic take, but they're still nice to see and can offer some semi-guidance for building terrain and boards for kill team games. And like with Octarius, at the back of the book you have thematic faction data cards themed towards either the Tau or the Adeptus Sororitas. So if you want to photocopy these, you can have some nice themed data cards for your kill teams. So for the Chalnath overview, personally I feel that the Pathfinders are a little better. They still have the problem that Tau have where when they're rushing for and contesting the points, they just fold in combat, which feels like a Tau thing, which is fine. But they have a lot of tools around that, and you generally want to play quite cautiously during turning points 1 and even 2, but not too cautiously. And the kill team does reward you for being aggressive and has the tools to do so. My problem with the Novitiates kill team is they have a similar problem where they're quite squishy. They have lots of faith points and abilities around that to help with their vulnerability, and they have some, you know, good stuff to work with. I think both kill teams are good. I don't think they're better than the Octarius kill teams, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's just something to note. When building the kill teams, with the Pathfinders, you can generally build everything. If you want to build a marker and gun and shield drone, you're going to have to buy those because effectively you can build the recon drone and then you can build 2 more drones. And I would probably build the specialist drones just to have them in my collection, because what I've done is I've ordered the drone sprue just so I can build a gun drone and a marker drone. So you only basically eBay or £10 to fully fluff up the Pathfinder kill team. And you could always, because you get so many weapon options in the normal Pathfinder sprue, you can buy some Pathfinders if you want to have every option, such as double iron rifle and double rail rifle, although I don't think you have to do that. So it's quite rewarding in that aspect. My problem with the Sisters kill team is you can't build all the operatives because you have 10 operatives, a leader, and your normal operatives. And once again, as with the Veteran Guardsman kill team, you have operatives that share the same body, including your specialists. So you actually won't be able to build everything from one box for the Sisters. So if you want to build a full Sisters kill team, you're going to have access to 2 sprues, which is the same problem the Veteran Guards have. So I think it's more of a win for the Pathfinders, but both kill teams are pretty good. I'm going to play some games and test them out, and I think they both have some legs. As I said, the Tau seem a lot more powerful on paper, but it's something we need to test out and see. So yeah, for the pros, I do like the new ways kill teams have been added. It's not a bad model, and the kill teams added have a lot of tools, rules, and fun thematic abilities. Well, they're not being too strong. They're definitely powerful, and I'd say they're better than compendium versions. Even the Novitiates, I think, are better than the Sisters of Battle compendium. And yeah, once again, you get a really good narrative book, campaign booklet telling you everything you need to know about the kill team, as well as the new setting. I like the board and the terrain. It's really good Warhammer modular terrain that it's a shame it's out of production at the moment, but if you want, it's a good access to that. And yeah, downsides, oh, and the good side is you can effectively build all the Tau from one box. So extra points there, and the Tau are pretty easy to build. Downside, I would say, is the price. I would have liked this at £95. Even though you're still saving money at 105, it's not ideal. And yeah, you can't build a full Sisters kill team just from one box. I mean, you can, but if you wanted all the options, you'd have to buy a second box or more sisters, which is a downside and a bit unfortunate, as well as the added terrain if you're interested in it. But I do like that they add terrain. But yeah, that's my thoughts overall. Would I recommend Chalnath? If you're a new player, it depends. I think it's a nice add-on, but it's not necessary. So if you're content with what you have, you don't have to buy it. I probably would have bought it just for the Pathfinders, because I think, once again, nice update and very interesting to play, even just without knowing what they do. And, well, it's the terrain that actually comes in the box is... Because now with the scalable trait, you can use any sort of terrain for kill team. So that's the best thing, but this was added via an FAQ. And yeah, it basically, you can use this box for 40k as well. So if you're a 40k cross-pollinating player, it's great because not only do you get 2 good kill teams, you get a lot of nice terrain you can use for 40k now, because it's all 5 inches or taller, so it counts as obscuring terrain for 40k. And with the new scalable trait, it's actually fairly easy to use. But yeah, it's not necessary, and the price is 105. But yeah, I'm torn. Maybe, you know, if you let people go, like, you can either buy the kill teams without terrain or with the terrain, then the problem, it kind of like gives too many choice, like the starter sets. So yeah, if you want to wait for them to be broken down separately, no rush there. But if you want to hop on now and have some new kill teams to play, it's not a bad buy. And as I said, I'd probably have bought it as well if I didn't get it for free to review. Now, if you are interested in purchasing this, I do have an affiliate link down below in the episode description via Element Games. It will net you at about a 20% discount while at no additional cost to yourself, and helping to support my channel and the content I make. So feel free to check it out if you're interested. In summary, I hope you enjoyed this review of Chalnath. I'm actually really hopeful for the way Games Workshop is expanding Kill Team, and overall I like the Chalnath box outside of the price. I think it's a nice buy that you don't have to buy. It's just some nice options. And yeah, it's good as an optional purchase, because if you're happy with Octarius, you're fine. If you want to expand a bit more or want new teams to play with more expanded rules, you have the option to expand into that. And the kill teams are really balanced. They have weaknesses. I was worried they would be kind of like good at everything. Obviously, they have a lot of tools and a lot of stuff to remember, but it helps balance out their fragility. So they have stuff that helps them, but not in an overpowering way. You can see why they've made special rules that reflect the narrative aspect of the miniatures, as well as buffing them from a gameplay perspective. So I think this is a really cool fusion, and it gives me hope for how the game is going to progress, especially with how Games Workshop announced that we're going to get one of these every 3 months, effectively. So they're nice and spaced out, it's not too overwhelming. And yeah, you know, the books are full of narrative stuff as well if you're a narrative player. So even if you're not just playing competitively, there's a lot of stuff there for you to use, and as well, you know, the terrain. But that's pretty much it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video review of Chalnath. Please like and subscribe, as well as comment what you thought of the video and the review. Let me know if you're going to get Chalnath and what you think of the 2 included kill teams. How do you think they're going to be balanced? And, well, yeah, are you going to get Chalnath? So until next time, keep rolling crits, even if it's in the name of the faith of the Emperor, or for the greater good.